Okay, so this is gonna be start of Endwalker, isn't it? Is this the Warrior of Light? Oh, yeah, it is the Warrior of Light. And then there's, that's probably Fandaniel. Oh wow. It's easy. That's Sage, right? New class.
You're right. I can look after myself, you know. And I've had enough of this rabble. Come on!
Oh yeah, that's the fight we just had, right?
As the chaos spread, the stars seemed doomed to unravel, and yet
There's Tiamat.
there were those who stood in defiance of
Tiamat is there. Student of Tiamat.
The hour is come, creature. It's all or nothing.
There's Fandaniel.
The stage is set, but will our hero deign to play their part? You took your time. 'Tis as we feared. The respite afforded this land was but fleeting. The end draweth nigh.
Oh, is that a new location we've not been to yet? Charleon, that's the place that we wanted to go, right?
I knew it. The star still has secrets to tell. Take care, my friend.
So, Charleon would keep its counsel while the world is lost to ruin.
It would. Come what may, we shall live on. We must.
Do as you must then, but we scions will fight until the heavens fall, until our last breath.
Past the far
the queue now, because there's going to be a long queue, isn't it? Alright, well, I'll see you when the queue is over. Alright, let's go start not Shadowbringers. Endwalker. Shadow Endwalker. No. Alphino? Oh wait, we're talking to Alphino. Alphino is feeling the need to take stock. Stock of what? Do you have some time to talk? I would like to gather everyone in Dawn's airspeed and together assess the situation in which we find ourselves. Let's take stock of the facts, shall we? The crisis at hand began with the sudden appearance of ominous towers in a multitude of locations throughout the world. I have since learned that said structures were brought into being by an organization known as the Telophoroi. Telor's stated purpose is to recreate the final days of Eon's past, an apocalyptic event that would result in the destruction of all you hold dear. Already have these towers of theirs been the cause of untold suffering. Countless innocents kidnapped and imprisoned, their faith perverted for primal summonings. Unless we find a way to deal with the corruptive aura surrounding the spires, we can't even get close enough to rescue anyone. Those shielded with the blessing of light seem able to resist being tempered at least. But after what happened to Renvald and Fordola, we need to be very careful about how we proceed. Yet, while these threats close to home are of paramount concern, we mustn't lose sight of the situation in Garlemald. As you know, the Telophoroi are under the leadership of Fandaniel and one other delightful fellow, Xenosia Galvus, Crown Prince and our dear friend. To date, he's reclaimed his old body, murdered Emperor Varus, and plunged Garlemald into an even deeper pit of chaos. The capital has probably seen the worst of it. For a good while there, it saw the bloodiest fighting in the War of Succession. That has since changed, and in troubling ways. During our reconnaissance, the air was not once rent by barking of cannons, or the sky cries of discord. It was an eerie fog of silence which did blanket that ruined city. The inhabitants appeared to have been tempered, and with nary a word spoken did they labor to transform the place into a soaring edifice born of nightmares. If they were indeed made trials, it seems safe to assume that these events too were orchestrated by the Telophoroi. An army of primals is awful, but in light of recent developments, I fear it is only a prelude to an even greater catastrophe. We need to devise a means to counter this threat and quickly before our allies are overwhelmed. We will find a way in Charleon, I'm sure of it. Master Fortuno's comment regarding the final days were curious, to say the least. The firm knows more than it is letting on. Sorry to interrupt. What'd you want, Tataru? Just received word from Mrs. Triskaya. She says arrangements for your visit have been finalized. You're to head to Lumsa and board the next ship bound for Charleon. On arrival, present yourself as associates of students of Aldesion. Come to assist with the Order's restoration. is merely settled, but what of your task? You must face at the prospect of returning home after so long. I'm eager to see it, of course. We should set off at once. Then I'll accompany you to the docks. You need at least one person there to wave and cry and wish you a safe journey. Tataru. Second, I should change my outfit before going there. I should go back to the inn, do some glamour stuff. Here, ready? Ready to leave. One's here, which is good because I've already paid for your passage and fee. It's not refundable. Ship Sean should be pulling into port soon, so please follow me and handle your luggage.
They've almost finished loading our cargo. We should be ready to depart right on schedule, or so I'm told.
Excellent. 'Tis nice to have a smooth beginning to one's journey, at the very least.
It's funny. Master Louis Soir came here on a ship very much like this one. And now, years later, the street urchin he befriended that day is bound for his mentor's homeland. With his mentor's grandchildren, no less.
Aye. 'Tis upon reflection that every twist of time's river and fate's whims are brought into sharp relief. Thou hast matured much in the intervening years. Wert thou not caught attempting to relieve Master Louis Soir of his purse scant moments after he made landfall upon this dock?
Oh, really? Now that's a tale I'd like to hear.
Will this be your first visit to Charlian, Sir Estinian? Sir Estinian?
Are we strangers newly met? Why this stiff formality?
I, merely meant it as a professional courtesy, since we are now colleagues in an official sense.
I'd rather you dispense with the sirs, especially in private company. Or I'll be forced to respond in kind, little Lord Alphino.
You've made your point, Estinian. Painfully well.
Better.
Are you all right, Tataru? You seem positively distraught.
Distraught? Me? Don't be silly. I think it's lovely that they get to see their homeland. It's just, we're trying to thwart the schemes of an army hellbent on destroying the world. And once again, I have to stay behind and worry that this is the last time I'll get to see my friends.
I'll bring them back safe and sound, I promise.
I'll hold you to that.
Ah, good. You're still here.
Hori! Coulternay! What brings you all this way?
We're to assist the Maelstrom and the Kobolds with a lunar primal operation, so we thought we'd see you off before heading to the tower. Flamine and the others wish you all a safe journey, and promise that they'll look after things here until you return. We will too, of course. Aye, we your fellow Scions of the Seventh Dawn will do our part to ensure the end of the world won't happen on our watch.
We're set to sail! All aboard for Sharlayan!
It's time.
Then we must delay no longer. We will contact you the moment we learn aught of value. Wish us luck.
Have a safe journey, and please, please, be careful.
And so you venture forth unto the unknown. A fate beyond the horizon that cannot be divined. A future undefined and in flux. In uncertain times, naught but the simplest words of wisdom will suffice. That which lives is destined to die. Love leads to loss. Every beginning has an end. Treasure every moment, every step of your descent. And there, in the depths where souls and stars rest, find your truth.
To Sharlayan we go.
Feel. Think.
The day has barely dawned, my fellow earlier riser. Though we're hardly alone in that. Envious of those still sleeping soundly, no doubt. Called out to you, you say? I've heard nothing myself. In any case, I dare say the sea air will do you good. Why not join the others on deck? Charlian should be coming into view at any moment.
My voice yet reaches you. I am glad. Hear, feel, think. And thus do we meet face to face at last. My warrior of light, guided by the crystal.
Why now, Adeline?
After your sojourn in the First, I believe you have your answer. You have gained an understanding of what I truly am, what Eidolon has always been, a primal. Zodiac was created to forestall the apocalypse which threatened the ancient world, and I was brought forth to bind him. Yet 7 times now, those who would orchestrate a return to that bygone era have rejoined a shard to the god I had sundered. The greater his strength grows, the swifter does mine own diminish. The power to draw your mind into the rift betwixt is no longer mine to wield. Yet though it taxes me sorely, I dare not leave these words unsaid. Even bereft of my guidance, you and your companions have accepted the burden of this star's troubled past. A conjunction has begun to form, an intertwining of your time and mine. Wheels shudder and turn. Conflict looms. Monumental. Which will decide the fate of this world and all life upon it. When you truly understand what is at stake, and your journey has prepared you to surmount the insurmountable, then shall I honor the promise made in another time, another age.
Cast your peepers to the fore, folks. Charlian's just over yonder.
keep you further. Your traveler's heart must yearn to behold this unfamiliar land. We shall meet again, and soon.
Oh, what a fine morning. Oh, still a bit stiff though.
And a good morning to you too. Taking a look at the island already?
Then let's go. Let's go! Might still be room in the prow if we're lucky.
Ah, the sleepers have arisen. There she is. Good old Charlian.
Oh, I see it.
Home. Home at last. Well, maybe not in Father's eyes, but we'll manage on our own, if we must.
You do know you're not alone in this, don't you?
Indeed, 'tis as Sir Estinian said. Forget not the comrades who boarded this ship at your side, I prithee.
Thank you, my friends. We are ever grateful for your steadfast support.
Upon arrival, we will be disembarking into the heart of Charlian proper. There is no greater concentration of wisdom in all the world. I am confident that somewhere within that center of knowledge and learning, we will find the answers we seek.
I like how the moon is just there.
Charlian, the solitary island nation of the northern seas. Where under the watchful gaze of Thaliak, patron deity of scholars, academics hoard all manner of knowledge and secrets. Once, they deigned to accept foreign students into a distant colony maintained in the Dravanian hinterlands. How swiftly they abandoned it once the first Garlean boot set hostile foot on Alamegan soil. So averse to the prosecution of war, these men of wisdom, your would-be allies.
I thought they'd never let us off the ship. What's next then? Entry applications?
Hopefully they find no cause to deny us.
Hasn't Sharlayan all but severed relations with foreign powers? Those of us without direct ties, myself included, may be refused outright.
'Tis true that, as a nation, Sharlayan only forms trade agreements with a select few neutral countries. But from a practical standpoint, an island cannot afford to be overly strict with its borders. Especially not if that island's people are wholly devoted to the accumulation of knowledge. If one submits the proper paperwork, with satisfactory evidence of identity and intent, then foreigners may be granted entry.
May.
Quite. So let us be absolutely clear on these points before we proceed. The immigration officer will ask for your affiliation and your purpose of visit. Considering Sharlayan's views on intervention, I strongly suggest we avoid any mention of the Scions. Kral has laid the groundwork for us to act as associates of the students of Baldessian, and our ostensible reason for being here is to aid in their order's restoration. Grahatir, it might expedite our progress should an actual student be seen at the head of our little group. Would you mind leading the way?
Of course. The immigration officers were this way, as I recall. Shall we? Greetings. We've just arrived and are eager to make our way into the city. Would you be so kind as to process our entry applications?
Certainly. I see by your mark you are an Archon.
I am. Grahatir of the Students of Baldessian at your service. I was assigned to an Eorzean survey team, but have returned to assist with the reformation of my order. My associates here will provide additional support.
Very good. I have paperwork detailing your group and its scheduled arrival for today. And it seems some few of your companions are also Archons. If you'll step forward, we can process those applications first.
Ishtola rule.
See how it glows? That list is etherically linked with the citizen registry kept in the main repository.
I've confirmed your status as Archons and amended your travel records accordingly. Welcome home. Now, who do we have here?
Alphino Leveilleur.
And Alizé Leveilleur.
Your applications have also been approved. Having said that, the streets are abuzz with talk of how House Leveilleur's lord disowned his young progeny. And while such personal circumstances constitute no reason to deny you entry, I urge you to avoid exacerbating your present situation. Times are quite troubled enough already.
We shall keep that in mind.
These last two are not Sharlayan natives, but you will find their credentials are in order. An application was made in advance.
Name and occupation?
Adios, Shan. Adventurer by trade.
An adventurer? Well, I suppose that is considered a valid calling in your native Eorzea. And it does indeed match the profile provided. You may enter. And you, sir?
Estinian Varliner, formerly of the Order of the Knights Dragoon in Ishgard.
Formally, at least. And what, pray tell, is your profession now?
If you'll allow me... My associate is a mercenary, hired for his strength at arms. Surely you are aware of the dangers we often face on our forays into the wilderness.
Mistress Baldessian, if you insist on sponsoring his entry, then so be it. But while I appreciate that desperate times call for desperate measures, I find your choice of company concerning. Be advised that even a single misstep may have severe repercussions for your organization.
I have every confidence in my chosen company, dear and trusted comrades that they are. But I thank you for your concern.
Croyle, it is good to see you.
Likewise. Long voyage notwithstanding, you all seem none the worse for wear. There is much to discuss, but this is hardly the place. Let's be on our way, shall we? Oh! Welcome, friends, to Sharlayan.
As your mercenary, I should hope my welcome includes a generous salary.
Well, I had to say something, Sir Taciturn.
Water effect here is pretty cool, that's for sure. Oh, this thing looks pretty cool over there. Let's talk to Crown. I'm glad I spotted your ship. In port, the officers are born bureaucrats and stickers for detail. Thank you, so you may relax and take a moment to get your legs back. Sweeps to science with a speculative look. I had thought to launch it directly into an explanation of what I've learned and how we might proceed. This Patterson is the first time Sean, and for the rest of you, a homecoming that was long overdue. You must have places you wish to visit and people you're dying to see, therefore we post on our agenda so that all may have sufficient time to recover for a journey. Get your bearings in the city. Once we're settled, we can reconvene at Baldessian Annex. How does that sound? That's fine, Session. We may not be welcome at Delavair Estate as such. I should like to know around the neighborhood at all the same. I'm equally untethered as it were. There is no particular place that my kin call home. So I would not pass up the opportunity to reacquaint myself with the city. Likewise, a quick tour of our old haunts might even yield some useful gossip. The annex was west of the Aether Plaza, wasn't it? I shall journey there and on. Yes, very well. I'll see you there. I do have places I would like to be remiss in visiting forward. Right by the Justinian, my services as a guide are yours for the asking. That won't be necessary until we reconvene. I prefer to wander as the wind takes me. I could, Rana, would you like to join us then? You've been gone for a while, and this is the perfect way to refresh those dusty old memories of yours. Of course, if you will have me. Come, Charlian awaits. Oh, the quest music in this in Endwalker is pretty cool. You my friend, I am no more content to follow your lead. He's now accompanying you. Keep him at your side in order to pursue the quest objective. Leave Greyhawk behind by entering a different area using Ethernet, putting too much distance between you. You can also speak with Greyhawk and select the option to part ways. Wish to have Greyhawk accompany you again, return and speak with him at your original location. Next, try speaking with Cryon. Alright. Come on, Greyhawk. We're gonna walk around town. Alright, so that must be on our way then. If we're stopping soon enough, will be the last stand. Let's get a cafe on the west side of the old harbor. Okay, so now you have like companions following you. Like, that's pretty cool. Come on, follow me. Yeah, sorry, follow me. Just follow me. Yay. Oh my god, so many circles here. What's this? Let's go to the giant statue in the harbor. What's the site of the great statue of Talia? So that's the big statue over here, huh? Let's go check that out. Two come in? Okay, I got time. Right now. Oh, here we are. Last stand. I may have mentioned this before, but although our research into nutrition and food progression is quite extensive, the average Charlian tends to regard seasoning and flavor with a certain indifference. The food is it's bland, encapsulated by our infamous Archon loaf. The prevailing symptom towards cruising is dietary value first, and taste is distant second. There was one pupil at the studium, however, who could stomach the stupid meals no longer, so he quit his lessons and poured all his savings into building a proper eatery. So the last stand came to be. It is, as the name implies, the sole dedicated outpost of fine dining in Charlian. One and only bastion of culinary arts, in an isle of otherwise mediocre fare. I seem to recall their burger being hailed as one of the more expressive items on the menu. Not that I never had the pleasure of eating one myself. Because you were typical Charlian when it came to cheap and convenient raha. Surely Tataru has since taught you how to appreciate a well-prepared dish. I'll stop in when time permits and sample the cafe's delights. Shall we press on? Stairs to the side of the cafe. It will take us up to the Aether Plaza. It's attuned to Aetherite. Oh, their Aetherite looks pretty cool now. The way their Aetherite looks is much different than the rest of the game. I don't think we've had like these circle types of Aetherites. Okay, now we'll have to tune to these on the way as well. The cryo. As usual, unusual shape, isn't it? I'm sure you have heard that it's perfect functional Aetherite. Remember to tune yourself before we move. Being diligent to our guide, I should make mention of the Confluence, a research facility located on this very plaza. It's much vaunted discoveries of the recent Shaman stance in the storefront of teleportation management technology. This underlying principle of yelling on Aetherites would allow us to understand and reconstruct what was essentially a lost art. And off we go to our next destination. Our path leads northeast to the Agora, Charlottes's largest marketplace. Where we're gonna go? I was not paying attention to what Kryl was telling me. Head to Agra while accompanying Gratia. Design location, okay. Which side is it? Is that over here? The studium. Okay, so that's the studium. The studium is the place where they learn, right? It's like a giant school. Oh, interesting. Yara Estate, that's where, man, the Lava Yara Estate is pretty big. I guess we'll just walk around and then try to find where we have to go. Almagra, where you can find wares made in Charlion, as well as a wide selection of imported goods. You also use to sell questionable prototypes from various research institutes, but I think that practice has thankfully died out for the most part. Whereas I can think of no better place to stack up for your next big adventure. Am I overselling? On a more serious note, the next stop, our tour is one which has particular relevance to our ultimate purpose here. Let's head back to the Aetherite Plaza, follow the path north, and climb the stairs up to the opposing building at the very top. So these are the Melders. Apothecary probably has good potions. Which potions? X potions, yeah. The Apothecary has a bunch of X potions, 24% of HP. Exceeds your 1000 in MP. I'll get some. Okay, let's see. Gemstone Trader. Retainer. Okay, Ethnium. Supplier, full plate armor. That's the market stuff. And the market board is right over here, I think. Yeah, market board's right over here. So just right over here, that's the main building. That's probably where the council is. This is the Nymphinium, an area dedicated to blessings of water. Showing water represents more than life-sustaining liquid. It is a reminder of the great flood which precipitated the birth of our nation, as well as a symbol of the knowledge which flows from Talik's divine ruin. This is the reason you see the monuments of fountains throughout the city, and a This entity for utilizing water is a decorative feature in our architecture. Let's go to the water features. The liquid features are typical of Charlian. It goes to exterior side. On the research wing, our headquarters on the Isle of Val were rather simple and rustic by comparison. It's a pretty cool fountain, that's for sure. Oh wow, look at the view from here. The view of the plaza is pretty nice. This grand structure before you is Rostra. The name refers to original public platform to here published a forum of elected representatives who deliver the orientations of public policy. Although the stage has since been evolved into council chambers, the nature of the forum and the duties of its members remain largely unchanged. Am I boring to you, Raha? You seem awfully distracted. From here, one can see the entire city spread out below. This stuff put me in mind of my arrival on the first. Those who had gathered at the Crystal Tower asked me how they might go about building a new home. Actually, my answer were all inspired by knowledge of the finest settlement I could take off the great city of Shoreline. But those few buildings grew into a town, community, the Crystera. You can almost see its echo. Feel free to come whenever you wish. I think the counselors would object to simply enjoying the view. Such memories should be treasured. Now, however, the tour must go on. Our spectacle of sightseeing concludes with the fittingly named Journey's End. Walk down the stairs to the east, continue straight ahead. You have a pretty big view up here. The journey's end. History tells us that this was where these who put ashore with Archon Yukcraft built their first homes. Present day it serves as the residential district for most important officials and the oldest Charlian families. You see that one of the mansions is clearly larger than its neighbors. That estate belongs to our friends from House Leveillard. All things considered, we should probably keep our distance for the time being. That we bring our little Shannon tour to a close. I hope it has proven to be an entertaining and enlightening experience. Now shall we head directly to Baldesion Annex? You remember the way, don't you, Raha? We head down towards the harbor, across the bridge to our right, then follow the path below the air turret, Rizza? Correct, after you. The Annex is the land where the yeah, it's right across the plaza. Yeah. First look on their house faces. You don't afford to. This is the Baldesion Annex. If you continue uphill, you will arrive on the doorstep of the phenomenon. But I think we've explored enough of it one day. We can take you to there another time. Inside with you then. Back, and I brought Adios and Raha with me. Alright, you were right about the ship then. Hello, Greha. It's nice to see you again. It's a pleasure to finally meet you, Adios. I've heard many tell of your exploits. Onja. Unka Chunjika has been an age. Let me introduce Ojika Chunjika, Administration Officer of the Students of Baldas. He oversees the day-to-day business of the Annex, and may recall meeting his cousin Ichika. Oh yes, Ruka. I've read their initial reports. It's quite a shock to hear what's become of the isle. Do take care if you have the opportunity to rejoin the expedition. This place is like a second home for the students. The Isle of Val served as our main headquarters, of course. we often had occasion to visit Charlion. Whether to make use of the city's research facilities, attend conferences, or procure supplies from distant shores. And the annex here was built to provide lodgings for our members while we engaged in such activities. Since our former headquarters along with the Isle itself vanished, the annex has served as our base of operation. Yet it feels so empty. With so many lost to us, our organization is a shell of its former self. The day will come when we will see the students rise again. First, we must ensure that the Telephoroi fall. For the door on the left, there is the main hall, where we can discuss our options moving forward. Once everyone arrives, that is, you probably have time to rest before our discussion begins in earnest. Private quarters prepared for you in Andron, so please feel free to make yourself at home. Ah, the nap room's perfect for an afternoon doze. I didn't mean to give you a wrong impression. The chambers are quite well appointed, far more so than some cheap roadside inn, you may be assured. It was simply that we were often so busy with research or exhausted from journeys abroad that we would slip into Antron just to steal a few winks. They became known as the students' nap rooms, even if many such naps would last well into the following morning. So work and I'll be happy to show you the chamber. Hopefully dinners won't be too long in coming. I'll wait for you all in the main hall. It's a pretty big main hall. Oh wow, so many pictures here. Wow. You guys do a lot of research here. Eagles. Eagle King Mog. Eagle Mog King Mog. And that's the map of the Far East. Yeah, that's the map of the Far East. Fresh alert, our colleagues should be wandering in soon, so suggest we stay here and wait for them.
Pray forgive me. I was delayed.
It's fine, Urianger. We're all here now.
Let's get down to business then, shall we? Come what may, we must prevent the Telephoroi's plans from coming to fruition. At present, I see two paths for gathering the information which may aid us in achieving that goal. The first involves an investigation into the change which has come over Charlion. Not to mention the recent inscrutable behavior of the Forum. As most of you know, the 99 members of the Forum are elected from the general populace. This alone guarantees a plethora of opinion with regards to foreign policy. The bibliotheques, for example, are a group of conservatives which would have Sharlayan focus on recording history, while remaining entirely uninvolved in the making of it. And at the other extreme, we have advocates for proactive diplomacy and direct intervention. My grandfather Galef was one such member, as was Archon Louisois. Yet despite our diverse factions and philosophies, the recent vote to deny Eorzea's request for assistance was unanimous. Even more concerning was the fact that many cited other, more pressing duties as justification for their recalcitrance.
Fortuno's refusal in Gridania had those same undertones. 'Twas as if, having stared unblinking into the face of impending doom, he had simply turned away to pursue something more important. But what could that possibly be?
A mystery indeed, and one which I ask for your help to solve. Our future may depend on it. As for our second potential path, it concerns a request made directly to the students of Baldessian. Our organization was founded primarily to study strange and unexplained phenomena the world over. Mysterious relics and ruins, arcane disturbances, and so forth. Compared to our more isolationist Sharlayan colleagues, we have strong connections overseas, namely with scholars and academics who share our passion for the unknown. The request in question comes from one such acquaintance, Nidana, an alchemist residing in distant Thavnair. Her missive describes the sudden appearance of a tower, and the subsequent summoning of what I can only assume is a lunar primal. In response to this threat, the satrap of Radzat Han, the individual who governs the city-state, has instructed the alchemists to find a means to deal with the spire.
The artisans of that land are heirs to an ancient tradition, one rather unlike that of their Uldan counterparts. It is possible, nay, probable, that they have gleaned truths unattainable by Eorzea or her Far Eastern allies.
They do, in fact, appear to have a strategy in mind, though it will require further research. To that end, they have requested an introduction to a capable warrior shielded by the blessing of light.
Assuming we divide our forces to pursue both of Kral's lines of inquiry, then having you join the group heading to Thavnair would seem the obvious choice. But the investigation in Sharlayan is of vital importance as well. Equal, I think, to the Thavnairian one, given that the fate of the world may hinge on the results of both.
Yes, it is quite the quandary. Though it is a great imposition and an altogether too common one, our efforts would be more likely to succeed were you to lead the charge on both fronts. You are indeed our champion. As to which task to tackle first, we will defer to your decision. Let us next decide how everyone else might best be assigned. As for myself, I shall continue what I've begun in Sharlayan. I should also like to steal the services of an Archon or two.
And thereby gain access to a greater range of reading material. I will help with that.
Allow me to offer my assistance. I have some small amount of experience in the field of research.
Alize and I would also like to help, if you would have us.
Anything to understand even a fraction of what our father and the Forum might be thinking.
Of course! The more the merrier.
Right. The rest of us will make the journey to Thavner. Thoughts? Objections?
I passed through Thavner on my way to infiltrate the Empire, and though I'm not qualified to give a guided tour, I did gain a sense of where things lie.
I'll be happy to have you along then. So for this group, it will be you, me, and Urianger.
Give me a moment afterwards, and I'll supply you with all the details of Nadana's request. Consider this hall our rendezvous point once our respective tasks are complete. May our investigations prove fruitful.
Quest completo. Bunch of oh, it looks like crap. I don't like that. Start crying then. Hitting the books. The change has come over, Sean, but together we will divine the underlying cause of the firm's callousness. As mentioned before, however, the questioning of the Councilor's therapy is a fruitless endeavor, since they have already come to a consensus as to what and how little they are willing to divulge, which is why I began to scour Charlene's archive of historical records for any hint of a connection to the final days. Suffice to say that progress has been slow. There are only so many dusted pages one can skim in a day. But now that I have this band of willing reinforcements, I should proceed all the swifter. Let's reconvene outside New Memon, shall we? Exit the end is to the right, and you'll find the archives on the western edge of the woods. Directions for receipt of follow. I hope in case you stand out before the doors of New Memon, Charlene's grandest collection of books and tomes. This building is actually one by entrance, many of that to the archives. Roots of retreat, vast halls of great livable building conversion to the innermost of this maze of subterranean chambers. Citizen Charlene is free to enter in person's shelf, or most of its shelves. Only Archons are afforded access to certain restricted vaults. Dispatch Stola and Raha to investigate those. Meanwhile, Alice and Alphinav will help me continue my search through the stacks open to the general public. Your status presents more of a problem. As a non-citizen, you are only permitted to browse the first floor. Here at the entrance, even so, there should be a number of books which touch upon Charlene history or foreign policy. The task will be to find and study relevant publications. I promise you a working knowledge of those subjects will make it far easier to spot the sort of clues we're looking for. Tell the others to meet us at the stone benches over there once they've found some promising tomes. Happy reading. Alright, let's hit the books. Can only do the first floor. Alright. Oh god, this is one gigantic library. 3 books and relevant to my subject. Okay. Let's check that over there then. Oh, how high is this place? Yeah, this place is pretty high up. Look at this. Can I jump down? No. Oh. That would have been fun. That would have been fun if I could just jump down there. Look how high up this place is. Let's read these books. Story of Shaman, yeah. that kind of makes sense why they would refuse to help us. Because they don't want... That's one reason why they probably refuse, because they don't want to be involved in any wars, right? So that would make sense why they would refuse to help us. Were you winning along? No, not really. If you promise me all himself on the crown, also could be along shortly. It was delayed in similar fashion as far as I could see. No titles in the Archon's tax mentioned the final days specifically, so we have no choice but to start with the tangibly irrelevant tones, if they are even that. The plan is to skim through as quickly as we dare and share our discoveries as we make them. It would have been nice to invite everyone to the estate. Plenty of comfortable places to read and to ready supply of hot tea. I was always quite fond of reading outside. It's not about the little pleasures, is it? You miss your home. It's been difficult after arrival. I managed to speak with one of my family's servants and ask how things were. Seems our dear father has directed the staff that even if Alpha and I were to return Charlian, we were not to be allowed across the threshold. A harsh measure indeed. I hope that our efforts to understand his position and that of the firm will perhaps lead to a reconciliation. We'll mend this rift one day, I'm certain of it. What of you, Greya? Have you been to visit your family, or do they not live here in the city? Oh, well, my situation is also somewhat complicated. I was raised in Charlotte, yes, but I was born rather further away. In the southern reaches of Istabard. In fact, for generations my people have dwelt in Corvos, coastal region opposite to the island of Tavenir. The elegant founded a city in that fertile land, and might by ship brought in the subdued tribes of Mikoti to serve as laborers. Of course, the massive earthquake of the 4th Umbral calendar brought an end to the Empire's reign. When the 5th calendar froze, the sea saw that many of the tribes still living in Corvos braved and journeyed back to Erzea to remain, and they might prevent the remnants of elegant technology from being misused. Isn't Corvo under Garlean arrival? For the past 50 years, yes. Some semblance of local culture remain, as is the case for most imperial provinces, but Garlemald renamed the region Locus Amonis. The nobles of House Darnus. Okay. House Darnus demonstrated a singular interest in elegant innovation, and so my tribe was forced to reconsider a plan of action. For some time already had been raised in favor of abandoning our ancient customs. Shall the elegant eye no longer pass to our eldest children as reliably as it once had? Your discovery eventually tipped the scales, and the decision was made to bury our ties to the knowledge and traditions of Alak. As the last child born of the Alak and I was given over to the custody of friends and the students of Baldision, who had me registered as a Charlian citizen. I never even considered. Forgive me, it was an unkind question. Even Tancred was taken in by Archon Yusua, was he not? Stories of adopted wives, rescued orphans are more common among Charlians than you might think. Regardless of our origins, we are all provided with an equal opportunity to learn. With sufficient perspective, we outsiders can even earn the voted title of Archon. That's exactly why I have such love for this country, and why I wish to remain this nation of which its citizens can be proud. We're here, and a good reason to get the bottom of the firm so subordinates, aside from the terrific matter of our impending doom. Excuse us while we try to make some headway into these books. Our company should be arriving any moment now. I like how they're just sitting there reading. We've returned with our selections. I must say that pickings were quite slim indeed. It's already flicked through every history book devoted to disasters, and more than a few which barely made mention of them. So we will be looking to research papers on the umbrella calamities, as well as articles written by prominent firm members. Perhaps their knowledge of their final days comes from an unexpected source. Do you wish I asked you a few questions related to the final days? One here who didn't witness the events of Amarant firsthand. I fear I may be overlooking critical details. Right, thanks. Now, where to begin? First things first, what kind of phenomena did the ancients encounter as the final days drew nigh? Complete distillation of creation magic. Yes, the unfold Cactuar brought havoc on all manner of life. Chaos extended to the ancients themselves, causing their powers of creation to spiral out of control. Fear and desperation manifested in terrible, tangible fashion. Meteors raining from the sky, fire erupting from the ground, discordant abominations prowling the streets. That more or less aligns with my understanding. If only the arts of creation had survived until the present day, we might have had something substantial to analyze. To the best of our knowledge, however, those techniques were not preserved or passed on. Your strolling surmise that the closest known magic is that of the summoning rituals, promulgated by the ashes. Is there aught else of note which heralded the approach of the final days? The entire star was engulfed by disaster all at once. They say it began with a keening sound from the land itself. Ah yes, the Amarantans spoke of it, didn't they? They never did hear this sound out of ourselves, of course. Trust, as we were into the midst of the madness. It seems that each and every one of the Cactuars was preceded by this ominous noise. Eventually it resounded all across the entire star. Not even Amarant was spared. So the ground was crying out, to say. To be considered the harbinger of doom, it must have been quite distinctive, and probably quite loud. I had to speak with one of the Nominon's mammoths. After any books which mentions such a sound. Last but not least, would you describe how the ancients sought to quell this unprecedented calamity? What definitive action did they take? They summoned Zodiac. Yes, with Elizabeth serving as his heart, so many gave themselves in sacrifice to bring him into being. We do not know exactly how Zodiac brought salvation to Star, only that his godlike will toward the laws of nature set aright. And once the balance was redressed, the ancients offered up a further sacrifice to heal the ravages of the final days. Lives brought in heal, and it was these fleshing souls they intended to render to Zodiac a trade that would have allowed them to resurrect the shades of loved one absorbed by the primal. Or might have, had Venet and her followers not manifested their opposition in the form of Heidelin. Thank you both of you for the detailed review. I feel much more confident now in my understanding of the events. With all that first in mind, it does make me wonder what the Telafroi truly mean when they speak of bringing back the final days. We've seen what they're doing with these towers of theirs. Is forcing people to send problems a kind of catalyst? Or are they attempting to mirror the condition caused by unstable creation magic? Or are they truly simply using the final days as a figure of speech? A convenient metaphor for the scale of destruction they plan to unleash. But this is all just pointless conjecture at this stage. Let us return our attention to the forum, shall we? We should keep an eye out for your Chola, but this time we began studying these research papers. The last time my extended research of Archon stacks produce one or two possibly useful books. But I wouldn't get your hopes up. If you recall, Renji learned the source reflections from the Garum oracles. For its potential to cause panic and confusion, that tome was deemed apocrypha. It's sealed away in the Great Google Library. It's even less likely that knowledge of the unsundered world, not to mention the horrors of the final days, would be left sitting on a shelf for any curious scholar to find. Stands to reason then that my colleagues, be they Archons or counselors, should purport to largely ignorant of the subject. Yet when you confronted Master Fortuno with knowledge of the Tel'Auroi and their machinations, he scoffed at the suggestion that they opposed the threat. He seemed adamant that the firm would know if the final days were truly upon us. Charlie supports the conclusion that whatever privileged wisdom is guiding the firm's behavior is being kept secret from the rest of the nation. Not that I mean to excuse myself from reading duty. Whether they contain mention of the final days or no, those books could yet hold something of value. You weren't thinking of leaving, were you? There's plenty of work for everyone. You look exhausted. What about your studies? Were you able to find any books on the subject I mentioned? And then the day was all spent. Should you wish to read them again? A map at the reference desk will point you in the right direction. Should expect us to take well-deserved rest. We may be occupied with our research for quite some time. Unless it appears in desperate need for a study break. Ready for tea break? I know I am. So my neck and shoulders are going to be pacified if I don't stretch my legs and walk around for a bit. You know the last stand down in the harbor, don't you? Come and meet me near the outside tables and I'll treat you to their coffee. It's quite good. Things being done there, what brings you to the city? Of questions only Charlian has an answer to tell you, Master. Have you heard anything about an apocalypse called the Final Days? Like the end of the world? Nothing like that, I'm afraid. And that's what you're here to find. Information on this apocalypse. That's whatever we can learn. Unfortunately, your patrons appear to be unwilling to speak to me. I wish there was more I could do to help. There is. You're visitor Charlian, aren't you? If you will know your face, we should be able to pass you off as a server with one none the wiser. Just finished preparing a new order. Strike up some friendly conversation while you're setting down the food, and you might just get the answers you're looking for. Not a bad idea, I hate to ask, but what do you think? How's the spirit? Pay attention now, and I'll explain where each of these dishes needs to go. Tea is set for the chatty group sitting by the water's edge. What is for... Yelling is for one of our regulars, a Highlander by the name of Gisela. She's sitting at an outside table with a friend of her. So omelette Highlander by and Gisela. You see a Miko Tijan, he ordered oven baked lobster. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry, I've never heard of them. Or the final days. Somewhat uninformed when it comes to current events. Now, if you want to hear about the ritual arcane practice of the 6th Astral Era, come on. Or esoteric, then I'll be happy to talk your ear off. The omelette. Oh, finally, 2, 4, 16. Let's dig in. Time to waste. Oh, the platform? Yes, I remember seeing the name in the latest Gazette. Some grand claim about the end of days. Same old senseless warmongering. Even with these fools grow tired of spilling each other's blood. Let's stay out of it. I say the firm made the right choice and I fully support a decision to remain neutral. I assume they don't know the full story. I assume they don't know what the full story of what they are. We know more about them than they do. At this point, they're not that well learned if they don't even know what the heck the Talafroys are and the Ascians. There we go. Last up in the big lobster's line. I have no idea how long of it I've scrimpled and saved it. Scuffed for this heavenly dish. I was wondering, asked me to Tia. Well, this is the first I've heard of it. That would explain why my friend has been rushed off his feet. It must be busy time to be a gleamer. Gleamer? Oh, you don't know what a gleamer is? Your collectors of sort travel the world proving things that we haven't got here in Charlion. First his book unusual life specimen and so forth. So name of those folks who trail after their reapers in the fields, picking up every grain which was missed. All accounts gleaming is a most meticulous and demanding profession. They still offer to make good on their audacious threats, and many uncatalogued rarities could be lost forever. When else would the gleamers be buzzing about in such a frenzy? Watch the harbor and you'll see what I mean. They're carting loads from the docks all day. It'll never be this hectic before, not like this. Seem unaware, families, aside from whatever vague news the gazettes are printing. You're Dickon nothing to offer, but he's the best source of gossip in the city. The firm does have the secret knowledge, and they've done an impressive job ensuring no one whispers about it. In any case, thank you for playing the part so well. Here, the cup of coffee I promised. Let's enjoy a drink somewhere else, shall we? Be behind the peristyle, away from the gossips and their wagging tongues. Should do nicely out the wind and out of sight.
When our father disowned us, I couldn't believe what I was hearing. It wasn't until much later that his words began to sink in, that I began to feel the weight of what it meant. Do you remember when the decision was made to come to Sharlayan? Grahas said that the Forum was determined to keep us in the dark, and that Father's venomous performance was part of that strategy, to keep us at arm's length. Perhaps it was. Father argued with Grandfather on many occasions, but never with such dismissive contempt. And when he demanded what justifies the sacrifices we make in war, I honestly didn't know what to say. Neither did Alpha know, I know, but never for one moment did I believe we had made the wrong choice. So all I could do was fume silently. It was only afterwards that I realized how childish I had been, how being stubborn and self-righteous must run in the family. If I could have just mustered a civil response, then things might have turned out differently. They must be ferrying goods to Labyrinthos. A vast complex beneath the island. Sharlayan is famous for archiving knowledge from around the world. Well, that knowledge is not preserved exclusively in dusty tomes and desiccated samples. Our living library, comprised of all manner of flora and fauna, is housed and studied within that underground facility. Still, that did seem to be an unusually large shipment. When I lived here, it was rare to even see such cargo transported by boat. Wait, didn't you hear something in the last stand about the gleaners coming and going more than usual? Well, I think they're the ones we saw manning those boats. And gleaners answer to the Forum. If the appearance of the Telophoroi prompted this sudden burst of activity, then Labyrinthos may hold a clue as to what the Forum is planning.
Labyrinth in the Sentinel, they say is excited to share our relations. We should tell the others what we've learned about the Gleamers. Go on ahead to new and unknown, and I'll join you in a moment after you can move on his cup back. Back. You want to clear your head, have you? We found something too. Actually, we did some work to investigate and turn up information on the Gleaners. Makes sense. The Gleamers take their request directly from institutions and bureaucrats, but as you say, they ultimately answer to the Forum. A sudden significant increase in Gleamer activity and cargo certainly gives an impression of an overarching plan being put in motion. Let's see what the theory we can build from the facts. As the ship said earlier, Liminal's archives appear to contain no information concerning the final days. Coupled with that, Penus Melissa learned that his last stand, we can be reasonably sure that most Charlians know nothing of that particular period of ancient history. That my father and his colleagues are not only familiar with the final days, but are also somehow certain that the destruction being perpetrated by the Talafo is wholly unlike these apocalyptic events. Whoever the firm claims to be so occupied with a duty of such pressing importance, he saw fit to unanimously deny yours a request for aid. And now the Gleaners, official agents of the state, have been mobilized on an unprecedented scale. I do not think it's stretch to conclude that the Gleaners' recent activities are in service of the firm's secretive ends. In which case, our next course of action seems obvious. We visit the Bergen Tills and assess the situation for ourselves. If we're lucky, the Gleaners will be far more receptive to our questions. What should we do? Anything would be better than burying my head in Nether. What should we expect down there? I would hate to spoil the surprise. Myself, there are a few more subjects I should like to research. I may join you later, but I feel free to leave behind your board books. Anyway, I'll see to it each other is returned to its proper place. It would be a great help, thank you. Stand down the stairs over there, I'll show you where the entrance is. It's not too far from here, but you may find the path a bit disorienting. To the lead, so stay close. How slow are you gonna be, Leslie? Just gonna walk all the way there. Oh, we're gonna try to keep up. Oh, finally we can run. Yeah, let's run it. Good. Let's go. On the stairs here, alright. Oh, here now. Team leaders give her permission for our group's descent. Everyone, onto the left and down we go.
Deep beneath the scholar's city shines a false sun within a fabricated sky. In any age exist those who consider the floor an extension of their bookshelves, and this vault's architects surely belonged to that special breed. If the stack grows too high, start a new one. If no room remains, then make more rooms. A simple solution at first, and then bit by bit, a profound transformation. Knowledge buried beneath knowledge, a growing, creeping labyrinth from which there is no escape.
Not what you expected. I must admit, the artifice is very convincing. But I assure you that we are beneath Sharlayan itself. The breeze you feel, the flowing waters you hear, all created by the hand of man.
The island is volcanic, you see, and once upon a time this great hollow must have been a reservoir for magma. It was discovered some 400 years ago, at which point it was repurposed as a storage facility for scrolls and samples and such. Renovations have continued, with nigh on no interruption to this day, with the lower levels still undergoing expansion.
Aren't those people gleaners?
Aye, judging by their dress. They are said to work alone as a rule, but 'twould seem that rule is being enthusiastically broken today. It may be as you suspected, that they are engaged in a task apart from the norm.
Let's spread out and get some answers then.
Ugh. Did you call to me just now? No. How odd. I must be a bit dizzy from the descent. I'll be fine, I'm sure. Let's get to work, shall we?
We'll continue this next time on Final Fantasy XIV Endwalker.